I think it's truly a special honour for any of us who hold elected office to be representing the communities from which we all come. I think that we carry the hopes and the expectations of workers, of families and businesses that are relying on us to work together in a spirit of cooperation and to deliver real change. The public will be rightly watching on today as they juggle their work and family responsibilities, and they're struggling to manage their household budgets, and they're watching on in the hope that the parties in this chamber have the maturity and the courage to shoulder our responsibilities and to get down to business and act in the common good. There is absolutely no reason why we should be in a rolling crisis, even for 1 second. Over the past 2 years, this Assembly and this Executive has delivered, and we have proved that politics and power sharing here can work when we give leadership, deliver good public services and champion difference and inclusion, but oppose division. These are my values also. The democratic outcome of this election must now be respected. Today we stand ready to elect a Speaker, form an Executive and take on the leadership of the Northern Ireland Executive as a First Minister for all and a government that works for all of the people. It is the job of our heroic doctors, nurses and NHS staff to treat and care for patients, but it is our job as politicians to properly fund that service. It is time to agree a 3-year budget and immediately invest an extra £1 billion in our health service. Workers and families are facing really hard times because of the cost of living crisis, and that demands our immediate action, not protest. Mr. Speaker, this is our hour of decision. Not tomorrow, and not for a moment longer, can the DUP deny democracy, punish the public and boycott this Assembly and Executive and prevent us from putting money into people's pockets. Every party in this chamber told the electorate that they would turn up on day one. Well, the DUP have failed on day one. The people and the businesses here want to have confidence and they want to have hope for the future. So it's now time to look forwards, not backwards. We in Sinn Fein will continue to turn up, to work in partnership with willing partners, to deliver for people today and every day. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let me say a few words just to yourself in terms of your last sitting at the Assembly. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for the civility and the exercise of restraint that you have encouraged us all throughout your tenure in your role as Speaker, helping to moderate better community relations inside, but also importantly outside in our wider community. Your 4 decades of dedicated public service leave a legacy for which many politicians would rightly be proud, and we thank you for that. And may I also acknowledge your good wife, Liz, also in the gallery today, because as we all know, when you're in elected life, it can be very, very challenging, and we all need our family support, and we very much recognise that. So thank you for everything that you have done.
I call Paul Given.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I too thank you for your work as Speaker of this Assembly, not only with the 90 members guiding people, but also when it came to private members' bill, of which I had one, and your advice during that period of time, and wish you well. The class of 98 now reduces to, I think, only 3 members who are in this chamber today that were there back all those years ago. Mr. Speaker, in October 2019, at a time when Sinn Fein held Northern Ireland to ransom for 3 years in refusing to form a government, this Assembly sought to elect a Speaker, and the leader of the SDLP then, Colm Eastwood, said, and I quote, "We will not be able to have an executive, Northern Ireland Assembly or North-South Ministerial Council. It is our clear view, it is the Good Friday Agreement's clear view, that the best way to effect any change to any legislation is to do it within the confines of those structures, and that it will not happen as part of a shadow assembly at all, but will lead only to the fundamental destruction of the Good Friday Agreement. The Irish sea border has fundamentally undermined the Belfast Agreement. It has changed our relationship with the United Kingdom, and not one unionist elected to this Assembly supports the Northern Ireland Protocol. We do not consent. That is a fundamental cornerstone of the Belfast Agreement, the principle of consent. And that is gone as a result of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Last September, we outlined the problems. We gave forward our solutions. We were patient. we have been reasonable. We allowed space for the United Kingdom and the European Union to engage in negotiations and talks, and so the talks went on and on as we continued to be patient. Now, whilst others in this place acted in a divisive manner and called for its rigorous implementation, at a time when we have a cost of living crisis, members of this House want to drive up the cost of transportation. They want to harm people as a result of the Northern Ireland Protocol. We don't, and we put forward pragmatic solutions. The Democratic Unionist Party received a mandate in the Assembly elections, a mandate to remove the Irish Sea border, and our mandate will be given respect. We've engaged with the Prime Minister this week, the Foreign Secretary, the Secretary of State, and our message is now clear. It is time for action. Words will no longer suffice. And it's because we believe in devolution, and it's because we want the sustainability of these institutions to endure, that we are taking the action that we are taking today.